my name is Steve, I'm the British Railroader and welcome to the Model Railway Room. Today we're not doing an update about the layout, that will be coming soon, but what I wanted to do today was talk about keeper lives and how to fit one to a DCC decoder. Now, keeper lives are just capacitors that you attach to the decoder, and in the normal run of things they don't do anything, they just sit there, charge up and just wait until there's a break in power. And when there's a break in power due to dirty track or I don't know, you could be a feeder wire has come undone, all of a sudden it'll keep the power going so that you don't lose sound. It will also keep the momentum up. Now, most manufacturers produce their own plug and play current keepers. No, that's a trademark name from Soundtraxx. Their own stay alives. And as you know, I use a lot of Soundtraxx decoders, and Soundtraxx do two stay alives. They call them Current Keeper 1 and Current Keeper 2, which are made up of 5 capacitors. And I mean, some of my locos, I can take them off the track and they'll keep going for like 5-10 seconds quite happily. The only problem is they're quite big, and sometimes you have difficulty fitting them into a locomotive body shell. But one of the great things is that because of the way that keeper lives work, that the majority of keeper lives will work between different manufacturers. Now, this isn't completely true. So some use a 3-wire system, some use a 2-wire system. What I'm talking about is the 2-wire system, where you use capacitors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fit one of these. This is a TCS KA2 C. The C just means it's got a connector on it, which we won't be using, but I'll show you that in a minute. And when we get to look at this is a very small stay alive, and will actually fit in a space that one of Soundtraxx's won't. But it works on exactly the same principle as Soundtraxx's own, and therefore can be used. You just need to follow a few simple steps, and we'll go through those down on the workbench. Okay, so we are down here on the workbench. I've got my loco open. I'm just going to focus in a little bit on the loco just for a second. So you will see there is the decoder board just here. And just here we have a little plug, and this is the plug for the current keeper. Now, obviously this is, here we go, my TCS KA2. This 2-pin plug at the end will not fit that plug there, so we need to add a new plug to it. And fortunately, if I zoom back out a little bit, we can see here that Soundtraxx sells the plugs. It's double-ended, which is great because it means that I can cut it halfway and give myself 2 plugs. They're both wired, each end is wired the same, so the blue wire is wired to the same point as at each end. And that's quite important because with these current keepers, what you need to do is you need to understand how they're wired. And you can see here on this that it has a blue wire and a black and white wire. Now, the blue wire is the, let me just check my notes, it is the positive common. So on an 8-pin decoder, this blue wire would attach to the positive common blue wire. And the black wire here is the ground. Now, that's normally a yellow and green wire on an 8-pin decoder, but please don't quote me on that one because I could be completely wrong. Check your manufacturer's instructions. But it's the ground wire. This is the ground wire, and Soundtraxx do the same. So on their current keepers, the blue wire is the positive, the black wire is the ground. So by wiring the blue wire to the blue wire on this plug and the black wire on this plug to the black and white wire on there. That will be the correct way round to go into the little point just there. So that is what we're going to do. So I'm just going to get down and set up, and you can watch me very quickly soldering this up. Okay, so what I have just done is I've just trimmed the wires, and I'm hoping you can see this, but I've just trimmed them and taken off a little bit of the insulation on each side, and I've done the same with my little plug here. Now, one thing I am going to do with this is just check that this definitely is the correct way for it to go into there, which it is, which is perfect. So let's just pull that back out. So we know, and just for future reference, on this little plug down here on the Soundtraxx circuit board, as you look at it, the left hand side is the positive, the right hand side is the ground. So as long as you know that that's the way it's got to go in. Now I have got a couple of pieces of heat shrink tubing here ready to go. So I'm just going to slip those over. Now in an ideal world I'd have a blue piece and a black piece, but unfortunately I didn't have any blue heat shrink tubing. So I'm just using black on both sides, but that doesn't matter because we can still see exactly where the blue wires are. And then I'm just going to splice my wires together, blue to blue and black to black. Simple as that. Fiddly. Hope you can see all this. It's very difficult to film all of this when you're halfway up. So my soldering iron is hot. I am going to apply just a little bit of flux to each of these joints, just because, just makes the solder run a little bit easier. So flux added there. And now you can see how bad my soldering is. My soldering iron's quite clean at the moment. Don't know what's happened to it, but so a bit of solder on there. That's 1 and 2. Lovely, that's that. Let me just clean my soldering iron. Always good practice. So that's my joints just nicely done. I'm just going to fold those over. Put the heat shrink tubing over each one, like so. Grab my soldering iron and just get the end of it and shrink that down. Always worries me that I'm going to melt something, but I never have. Sod's law says that I will do at some point very soon. There we go. It's nicely shrunk round. So that's that. As you can see, I've got blue to blue, black to black. Pop this in there. Gently push that in. Use a pair of forceps, I think, just to push it home. And there, the capacitor is fitted. So just to move this slightly so that we can look closer at the locomotive. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm actually going to put it, where am I going to put it? Because obviously we want it somewhere where it's not going to get in the way. Now, but the great thing about this is it's so small that it should be able to sit up there. And that will all fit. We'll have a little look at that. There. Okay, I'm going to screw the body on and then we'll put it up on the track and we'll have a little test. Okay, so we've now got the loco on the tracks. So let's just see if it starts up. It does indeed. We have sound. We have movement. So this is a good start. It means that the Stay Alive has been fitted correctly and hasn't blown up the decoder. Excellent. So it's just headlights are coming on as I put it in reverse. So we've sped her up a little bit, and now I'm going to take her off the track, and the Keep Alive did exactly what it was meant to do. It kept her alive for a few seconds. And if it will do that completely off the track, and look, there was enough power. There was enough power there to completely to restart her without me having to go through the startup sequence. So there we go. Another successful fitting of a Keep Alive. And what this shows you is that yes, you can fit Keep Alives from one manufacturer to another manufacturer as long as you make sure they're compatible. Well, there we have it. That's the Stay Alive fitted, and as you can see, we've just done a nice little test just to make sure that it works. This one doesn't last as long as some of the larger ones that I fitted to other locos, but this will do the job just fine. I tend to keep my track relatively clean, but you do get breaks here and there, and this has been a great way of just smoothing things out a little bit. So there we go. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. It's totally free, costs you nothing, but it gets my numbers up, which, you know, we are 500 plus subscribers. So thank you to everybody for watching. But that's it for today. My name's Steve. I'm the British Railroader, and I'm saying goodbye from the Model Railway Room. Bye-bye.